Hello again and welcome back. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for taking the time to join me within this daily trade review. My name is Hello Good Trades, or you may know me as Hello Good Game. I play a lot of Magic the Gathering Arena on YouTube and am even ranked number one, which is, pretty cool. Probably shouldn't brag about that, but here we are. We're going to brag about some trades instead, baby. Pretty successful day. We had a long weekend. Then yesterday, the first day back was pretty hot, and that got us excited for today, right? So a little bit cooler today, given how busy yesterday was. You see yesterday, right? Like crazy busy. Today's a lot smoother. I actually don't mind this, where there's less things to look at, less options for volume to flow to, right? And this is, makes it a lot easier to kind of say, okay, this is the one, right? This is where we want to be. Other times it's a little bit like whack-a-mole, and it's very hard. There's like 5-6 different news runners that you're comparing against one another. And it does become a little bit more convoluted than I'd like. So, with that being said, we had special dividends running really hard this week. Last week we had earnings quite a bit, running as well, post earnings. And yesterday, even no news China stock, WHW, which was pretty cool, or HWH? HWH, yeah. So yeah, just kind of always keeping an eye out for what worked in previous days for today, right? And maybe a theme can continue. First on the list was IPDN. Now, we talked about this last night when I was filming, and we were like, oh, the day 2 looked pretty good, and then all of a sudden, everyone got excited and preloaded for day 3, which is pretty risky biscuits, right? Because it did fall back into close after hours and bled down even more within this morning's session. However, what's really interesting here is we have our daily high here, right? Because if we go to our 1 day, it's not going to count after hours. It will only count the high of the regular trading, which we see here. And then this morning, it respects that level. What was resistance and high of day from our day 2 consolidation bar, which typically we would enter in the break of on the day 3 setup, but because everyone was preloading it ahead of time, we didn't really get that, right? So here we are using it as support. So this kind of shows us that you could probably enter here with a stop loss below, but I want a little bit more conviction. So we wait for a reversal signal, right? We reject the 200, right? Kind of flopping back and forth here. But when we do get the 200, we immediately reclaim VWAP as well. And for me, that's kind of the key level here. You could use the 200 for better entry. I was a little bit slow to it, right? Sometimes these things, each bar is 1 minute, and, when you've missed it, do you really want to chase it up here, right? I'd rather wait for the trend retest. So that's what we did, right? We're a little bit late to it, so we just wait for an appropriate setup that we're comfortable with. So we see the reversal. We have our key level breakout now, which is the VWAP, and then the trend retest where it comes back to VWAP, comes back to the 21, and expands from there, right? So here's our entry. Our stop loss is below the low of the morning, right? Also below the same level, but the high of day from the next day. And we had a really nice entry here. Kind of get that 1-to-1 right away, but maybe you don't get a fill here, right? I don't really like when it's just like in and out, so we leave it. Don't quite get stomped out, and able to hold the 200, which is really nice, right? Kind of dips below, but immediately reclaims VWAP a second time, and then the rest is history, right? As soon as the market opens, we have fresh volume hit it, and we get our 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. And our 5-to-1. Now, this is kind of strange, though. There's a gap fill that you could have potentially played to the downside. So when a stock halts up, it's going to make a gap. You have to wait for the candle to close. on the halt up, like next candle on open, because you'll get the gap, and maybe the gap is larger when it first opens, and then the candle goes into it, but you won't, so you have to wait, right, for this candle to close to draw the gap to get the appropriate gap. And then the gap fill strategy, right? We want the price to retrace into the gap. We take our entries in the gap with a stop loss below, scalp it up. But we didn't get that here because when we got back to the gap, we halted back like down through it, right? And then kind of popped into the gap a little bit and bled down and revisited the gap here. So you could have used this as still a gap fill strategy, but on the downside, right? Because it didn't set up here on the long, but it did set up on the short where we have the gap, right? Right here. And then we retrace into it. You could take your entries here with a stop loss above it, and you get this beautiful short play where it just tumbles down. Of course, we don't really short stocks, but technically speaking, that's beautiful, right? Like that would have been absolute gasolina if you were a short player. With that being said, it was kind of sloppy, right? It wasn't what we wanted it to be. We do break above our day one bar as well here, right? But because it was preloaded, the move is less substantial, right? And then we kind of talked about the other day where we seen one that was preloaded or sloppy where day two is consolidating within the not just the body of day one, but the wick of it as well. Maybe let's see that here. Well, I think actually this just created a gap on the 1 day. No, because it did come down. So you see how we got our day one bar, and then day two, it's kind of like the consolidation is not within the body of the candle, but within both the body and the wick. So because it's been on theme, I think people are kind of a little bit excited, and sometimes it's better when nobody knows, right? Because things go too early, and then the timing of it is a little bit strange or awkward. It did go, right? Like you did get your breakout and would have even still been a nice scalp, like percentage-wise. Even if you did wait, that's still easy, 15%, right? Which is a great play. However, it should have been more. But because it was preloaded, we'll see. It did hold up better than CWD yesterday. It kind of held, right? So we'll see how tomorrow goes. It's on our radar. We're watching all of the special dividend stocks for the next couple days and weeks. Next up, STI, where we're just watching this. So first up, sorry, SINT news. IPDN was the day 3. Okay, let's go to SINT then. The news here. Landmark study demonstrating broad spectrum antiviral activity of silicon nitrate, which I think is like a COVID thing, which is popping up in some states, I heard. But we have a gap fill strategy here, I believe. Right? Where we have an inefficiency in liquidity, which I don't really care for because we've filled it multiple times. Like we filled the gap here, filled it again, filled it again, filled it again, filled it again, right? So you can kind of see how we keep projecting the upper band of the gap. Interesting. But we have those levels marked out because we've played it before. So we see, post earnings, we like that, right? And it's just kind of like melting up post earnings, really, really good. And then it gets to a point where it just boils over, pop, pop, fills the gap again, right? We didn't play it, but it did have the news, and it had the perfect setup where you get the news pop, you break down and hold trend, consolidating under VWAP, and then you reclaim VWAP, right? At which point you could have taken your entries on this beautiful little candle here. Show you. Here's your entry. Here's your stop. You could do the body of the candles if you wanted as well, or the wick. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you do the same thing all the time. And then, nice scalp up, 1-to-1. If you use the wick, you'd have to go a little bit more. Still getting that 1-to-1. Getting a 2-to-1 as well. Really nice. So that's how we would have traded that, and something that we like to do all the time. That's why we're watching the news scanner in the morning, pulling it up, checking the market cap, the daily average volume, and then can we get a technical setup or entry model, right? Moving on, STI. This was running right in the morning. First thing. So just, some after hours activity, holds the 200. And then as soon as, the day starts, like, what is this? 2 a.m. ticks over, 2:01, massive green bar, 2:02, you're gone. And then all morning for the next hour until 3 a.m. my time, right? This is going to be 4 a.m. Eastern. Just an hour of melt up here, which is kind of crazy. They win a 2025 R&D 100 award for breakthrough in sustainable graphite production. Interesting. Graphite might not be too great. Aren't like graphite poisoning? It's like microplastics, but worse. Anyways, crazy run up. And again, it's the same recipe. It's a small market cap, low daily average, a news for a catalyst to drive volume to it, and then try to find a technical entry and go, right? You could have, I was sleeping, but we wake up, we check the scanner. It's like, okay, this is what's running in the morning. Check it out. And often, what really runs kind of dies in the market session, right? And that's why we're so active a lot of the times in the morning is, that's where all the treats are found. Halts in the morning as well, or after hours. IHS. AIHS. So this had a reverse split post earnings. So a couple things that we like there. No news. It's China, just like yesterday's HWH, which is great. And then the entry model, we have we have first volume to identify that it's kind of a runner, right? But we don't chase it. We have a downtrend. Have a reversal signal, which is the first time it's set all morning, right? We need it to retrace so momentum can reset. And then we have not only the reversal with the downtrend breakout, but reclaiming VWAP as our key level as well. And then we have the trend retest, which is where I like to enter. Our entry here was a little late, but what do? Perfectly would have been on the 21. Stop loss below, this consolidation here, right? Or the morning wick, if you will, right? Because first bar opened red and then went green, right? So stop is just kind of below that local low. And 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, no 5-to-1. But what do? We got pretty close, 4.65 at its highest. But 101% from our ads there, which is pretty cool. IPDN was 54% from our ads. And finally, BTBD was last on my radar today. Announces execution of a definitive merger agreement. I typically don't like mergers, so we just start watching it. But the same thing, right? News pop, VWAP breakdown, consolidation while holding trend. Here's your reclaim. Take your entry, scalp it up. We didn't play it, but if you wanted to, your entries are like maybe here-ish, somewhere here. Let's say you get a bad entry. Here's your stop loss, and here is your 1-to-1, right? So really good trade. You don't get a 2-to-1, but you don't always win big, right? Just getting that 1-to-1 risk reward is the important part. And again, we don't really care for mergers, but the setup here is textbook, right? Low daily average, news pop, trend hold, consolidation under VWAP, reclaim, take entry, stop loss below local pullback, and just scalp it up to your risk reward levels, right? So we've done that hundreds of times now at this point. So you should have that burned into your brain. Lord knows I do, and it's worth having. So that's all I've got. Broader market, we can check in on that. So I was down the other day, but immediately just reclaimed it in the afternoon and has been holding it, just kind of trading sideways here. So, the market needs a retracement. It's not getting it. That's fine. I guess, it's just the symptom of inflation. Because if the market went down and we were still experiencing like consumer level inflation, that probably wouldn't be good. Core inflation would be up. So it's kind of like having the stocks and everything also up makes it less noticeable, I guess. Like it's not as big of a deal, at least if you're wealthy enough to be invested in the market, right? Because if it's just your groceries going up and you don't have an investment portfolio also going up, you're getting melted, right? Just getting squeezed. But with kind of inflation hitting, the stock market as well, I don't really notice it as much. So if the market does come down, we would like to see, I guess, core inflation come down as well. I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm a day trader. Just kind of catches things here and there. But we'll see. Let's check out the one-day chart. I don't know. I just trade the chart, man. Maybe this was our retracement. Maybe this is a kind of a local high, though. Like, let's see if we can break through this and, keep chucking up to all-time highs. 700 for Christmas. Could you imagine? But, the higher things go, like this used to be our support, and now, okay, we're all the way up here, right? And this used to be our second support, and now we're all the way up here, right? And we've been moving these supports up since our original gap ups, right? And way back in the day, I mentioned this, that we had these gap ups before, right? When the market starts gapping up after a pullback, that is people just getting in aggressively, which is going to be an extended run as that resolves. So we see the pullback and we see these massive gap ups on the 1 day, right? And then we see an extended run, right? Then we see this big old pullback, whoops, and then we see these gaps on the 1 day, the gap ups on the 1 day, and then what do you get? An extended run, right? So things are looking pretty aggressive. The pullback we just had was massive in hindsight, but we still need, so we had this pullback, and then we went on a big run. Maybe it runs more. It could, but we need another mini pullback, right? We want to come back to that 50. I would love to come back and re-enter this gap, right? Get into the 50 EMA on the 1 day, and then we go. Maybe we get a couple gap ups on the way, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Our bias for tomorrow is bullish based on today's candle. We can kind of, try to aim for the high of day tomorrow. Try to hold the body, and if not, here's our wick. But pretty aggressive day, right? Yesterday was aggressive too, where it's like big down. And we actually have another gap to draw here, which is now filled immediately. Gap down. So a lot of people might have got melted today because technically you'd want to take a short position here within the gap and put your stop above it, right? So maybe people are waiting and the stop losses go above this candle if we re-enter the gap. But again, who can bet against the market right now? It's like absolutely clowning. Like every bad news we get, it's just like goes up more, right? It's like global recession, green bars. World War III, green bars, you know, everything. It's just green bars. So don't fight trend. Just kind of hang out, pay attention. I'd wait for a better entry, right? Like we had really nice entries down here. And we all knew that, right? Because, you know, zoom out. You're below the 200. When are you getting below the 200? Not often. I hope you're adding, right? Just a couple chances to add below the 200. Not a lot of them. And then you have the reversal signal as well. So maybe it continues further. It's going to be hard to say. We'll take it day by day, week by week, right? So we'll see. I think a lot of it kind of revolves around the treasuries that Japan holds that they might have to sell. We'll see. I don't know. Again, I'm not an economist. I just read stuff online, which probably, you know, is already misinterpreted. And then I misinterpret it, and you get levels of just like, you know, misinformation. So that's why I just like taking the charts in real time, right? That's today's video. I hope you had a great day. Hope you have a good day tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And of course, we've got our designated, or well, not designated, but separated. That's not the word I'm looking for either. It's been a long day. Don't use the word segregated, HGG. The GameStop video it's dedicated. It has its own dedicated video. There we go. Beautiful. And you can check that out if you want as well. Cheers. We'll see you soon in the next one.